Hi, this is the oral recording of my learner who is in grade 4.
Mushroom in the Rain, Mary Gashbard. One day, an ant was caught in the rain. Where can I hide? He wondered. He saw a tiny mushroom peeking out of the ground in the cleaning and hid under it. He sat there waiting for the rain to stop, but the rain came down hardened and hardened. A wet butterfly cloud up the mushroom, causing ant let me come in from the rain. I am so wet, I cannot fly. How can I let you in? Said the ant. There is barely enough room for one. That does not matter, said the butterfly. Better crowded that wet. The ant moved over and made room for the butterfly. The rain came down, hardened and hardened. There, a mouse ran up. Let me in under the mushroom. I am drenched the bun. How can we let you in? There's no more room here. Just move a little closer. They huddled closer and let the mouse in, and the rain came down and would not stop. A little sparrow hopped up to the mushroom, crying, "My feathers are dripping. My wings are so tied. Let me in under the mushroom to dry out and rest until the rain stops. But there is no room here. Please move over just a little." They moved over, and there was room enough for the sparrow. Then a rabbit hopped in the cleaning and saw the mushroom. "Oh, hide me," he cried. "Save me, a fox is chasing me." "For rabbit," said the ant, "let's crowd ourselves a little more and take him in." As soon as they had hid the rabbit, the fox came running. "Have you seen the rabbit?" "Which way did he go?" he asked. "Oh, we have not seen him." The fox came nearer and sniffed. "There is a rabbit smell around it. Isn't he hiding here?" "You silly fox, how could a rabbit get in here? Don't you see there is isn't any room?" The fox turned up his nose, flicked his tail, and ran off. By then, the rain was over. The sun came out from behind the clouds, and everyone came out from under the mushroom, bright and merry. The ant looked at his neighbors, night, neighbors. How could this be? At first I have hardly room, and not under the mushroom just for myself. And in the end, all five of us were able to sit under it. Quahaha, quahaha. Somebody lagged, laid, laid loudly behind them. They turned and saw a fat green frog sitting on top of the mushroom, shaking his head at them. Quahaha, said the frog. Don't you know what happens to a mushroom in the rain? And he hopped, hopped away, still lying, laying, lying. The ant, the butterfly, the mouse, the sparrow, and the rabbit looked at one another, then at the mushroom. Suddenly they knew why there was room, and not under the mushroom, and not under the mushroom for them all. Mushroom in the Rain, Mary Gushbard.
The learner mispronounced the name of the author. Instead of saying Mira Ginsburg, he said Mary Gushberg.
One day, an ant was caught in the rain. Where can I hide? He wondered.
The learner mispronounced the word. Instead of saying wondered, he said wondered.
He saw a tiny mushroom peeking out of the ground in the cleaning and hid under it.
In this sentence, the learner committed 4 reading errors. The first one is he mispronounced the article a. He initially said I. On his second attempt, however, he got it right. Second, the sound p in peaking was repeated. Third, he mispronounced the word clearing. He said cleaning. And the last one, he mispronounced hid. He said hand.
He sat there waiting for the rain to stop, but the rain came down harder and harder.
The phrase harder and harder was mispronounced. The learner said harden and harden.
A wet butterfly cloud up the mushroom.
The first syllable in the word butterfly was repeated twice. Crawled was mispronounced. The learner initially said clowl. The second he tried it, he said cloud, while the preposition to was omitted.
Causing and let me come in from the rain. I am so wet, I cannot fly.
This time, instead of saying cousin, The learner mispronounced the word and said "cousing."
How can I let you in? Said the ant. There is barely enough room for one.
Enough was mispronounced. The learner said "enough."
That does not matter.
Thus was mispronounced as "dos."
Said the butterfly. Better crowd, crowded that wet.
The learner was unsuccessful in pronouncing the word crowded. On his first try, he said crowed. On his second, he said crowded. Dan was mispronounced. The learner said that.
The ant moved over and made room for the butterfly. The rain came down, hardened and hardened. There,
The phrase harder and harder again was mispronounced. The second harder was initially pronounced as harden. The second he tried it, he said der.
a mouse ran up.
The learner prolonged his pronunciation of the article a and added m. He said
Let me in under the mushroom.
The learner repeated the first syllable of the word mushroom twice.
I am the drenched the bun.
Here, the learner repeated the first syllable of the word drench twice. He also mispronounced it as drenched. The preposition to was also omitted. Bone was mispronounced as ban.
How can we let you in? There's no more room here. Just move a little closer.
The learner said closer instead of closer.
They huddled closer and let the mouse in.
Instead of saying huddled, the learner said huddle. Closer was again mispronounced as closer.
And the rain came down and should not and would not stop.
The learner repeated and twice. The learner initially said should and successfully corrected himself and said on his second try would.
A little sparrow hopped up to the mushroom, crying.
The learner mispronounced the word hopped once. The second he tried it, he got it right. Up, however, was omitted.
My feathers and dripping. My wings are so tied.
The learner mispronounced the word feathers. He said feeders, while the verb phrase are dripping was repeated twice. On the learner's first attempt, he said and dripping. On his second, he said are dripping, making the linking verb are correct on his second attempt, while the word dripping is still incorrect.
Let me in under the mushroom to dry out and rest unto the rain stops.
The learner repeated the phrase out and rest twice. On his first attempt, he said are and rest, while on his second, he said out and rest, until was mispronounced as unto.
But there is in no room here.
The learner inserted the preposition in between is and no. Here was mispronounced as herp.
Please move over just a little.
Instead of saying little, the learner said litter.
They moved over and there was room, and not from the sparrow.
Instead of saying they, the learner said die. Enough again was mispronounced as enough. For was mispronounced by the learner as from.
Then a rabbit hopped in the cleaning and saw the mushroom.
In this sentence, the learner committed 3 pronunciation errors. The first one is hopped. He said hopped. Into was mispronounced as in, while clearing was again mispronounced as cleaning.
Oh, hide me, he cried. Save me, a fox is chasing me.
On his first try, the learner mispronounced is as ing. However, on his second, he already got it right.
For rabbit,
Poor was mispronounced as poor.
said the ant, let's crowd ourselves a little more and take him in.
Again, the word crowd was mispronounced as crowd, while the first syllable in the word ourselves was repeated twice, but incorrectly pronouncing it as ourselves. Little was also mispronounced as, again, litter.
As soon as they had hid the rabbit, the fox came running.
Heed was again incorrectly pronounced by the learner as first had, while on his second attempt he said hide.
Have you seen the rabbit? Which we did he go?
Way was mispronounced as we.
He asked. He asked.
The learner uttered he asked twice.
Oh, we have not seen him. The fox came nearer and sniffed.
Sniffed was mispronounced as shyfed.
There is a rabbit smell around it. Inch, inch, he hiding here.
The learner was unsuccessful in trying to pronounce isn't correctly. On his first try he said it. On his second he said ints. While on his last and third try he said ints. Here was mispronounced as her.
You silly fox, how could a rabbit get in here?
Could was mispronounced as cold. Here again was mispronounced as her.
Don't you see there is is isn't any room?
The learner again struggled to pronounce isn't correctly. On his first try he said east. On his second he said ist.
The fox turned up his nose, flicked his tail, and ran off.
The learner in this sentence committed 4 reading errors. The first one was the word turned. He said then. Next, nose. He mispronounced this word twice. On his first attempt, he said noise, On his second, he said nos. Flicked was mispronounced as plicked. Off was mispronounced as op.
By then, the rain was over, the sun came out from behind the clouds, and everyone came out from under the mushroom, bright and merry.
This time, the learner mispronounced the word out. On his first attempt, he said R. On his second, he already got it right, while Mary was mispronounced as Mary.
The ant looked at his neighbors, night, neighbors.
The learner was unsuccessful in his 3 attempts to pronounce the word neighbors correctly. On his first try, he said nightbors. On his second, he said neckbors. While on his third and last attempt, he said nightbors.
How could this be?
Could was repeatedly mispronounced as cold.
At first I have hardly room, and not under the mushroom just for myself. And in the end, all 5 of us were able to sit under it.
In this portion of the text, the learner mispronounced had as have. Enough was again mispronounced by the learner as and not.
Kwahaha, kwahaha. Somebody lagged, laid, laid loudly behind them.
This time, the learner struggled in pronouncing the word laugh correctly. On his first try, he said lugs. His second, he said layum. On his third and last try, he said lage. Loudly was also mispronounced. On his first try, he said loudy. On his second, he said lowly.
They turned and saw a fat green frog sitting on top of the mushroom, shaking his head at them.
In this portion of the text, the learner again mispronounced the article a as I. Frog was mispronounced as frogs. Sitting got 2 attempts. The first one was sighting, while on his second, he already got it right.
Quahaha, said the frog. Don't you know what happens to a mushroom in the rain? And he hopped, hopped away, still lying, lying.
The learner seemed to find the words hopped and laughing hard to pronounce. On his first attempt to pronounce the word hop correctly, he said hopped. On his second, he said ho. On his third, he said hop. While laughing got 3 unsuccessful attempts. On his first try, he said lying. On his second, he said lying. On his third, he said lying.
The ant, the butterfly, the mouse, the sparrow, and the rabbit looked at one another, then at the mushroom.
This time, the learner repeated the phrase the mouse twice. He also inserted the preposition of between mouse and the.
Suddenly, they knew why there was room, and not under the mushroom, and not under the mushroom for them all.
In this last portion of the text, the learner mispronounced the word suddenly as suddenly. They, again, was mispronounced by the learner as die, while enough has been consistently mispronounced by the learner as not. Enough under the mushroom was repeated twice by the learner. Anus was inserted between mushroom and for.